Hi, welcome to WMD, that's Woody's Modelling Diary, and we're here at Roxby Rail Museum on the Bank Holiday Monday, and today we're just having a quick look at some point controls, couplings and brakes on real railways, just to see how that compares with model railways. And you'll have to excuse my usual amateurish ramblings. None of this is scripted and it's just done on the hoof, but I hope you enjoy. In the meantime, I've got to get back to controlling this loco, well, not controlling it, but making sure it stays on the right tracks. So we'll catch up with you later. At the quarry end of the museum doing some shunting, which involves pulling this point switch a fair amount. I thought it might just be useful just to have a closer look at what actually makes up a hand throw on one of these points, because in model form you see a lot of points where the lever is just sort of attached to the side of the point, but if you note, the sort of two sleepers which actually have the point switch attached to them are much longer. You see this sometimes on American points, they seem to be modelled in that way. Then we've got the mechanism itself, which is just in effect a lever with a rod going across to the point blades themselves, which are spaced by that tie bar, and obviously the action of the point motor being thrown throws the point. So let's just step back. The other thing to note is the walk plate, so that's quite interesting. And I'm back to duty because we're in a moment going to get back train going up the line, which means more shunting, more coupling up, more brake applications, more point switching. Oh, that's the great part about this job. It's not every day you get to do these sorts of things. See you in a bit. Right, whilst we have a break for a drink, these are the tools of shunting. Basically the shunter's pole and that thing which looks like a baseball bat gone wrong is to help with applying the brakes. But the shunter's pole is nothing more than a pole with a hook on the end of it, and basically you can use that hook to hook onto the chain and then lift that onto the actual coupling hook on the buffer beam. Doesn't always work out for amateurs like me, so that's sometimes why you do end up going underneath between the wagons and putting it onto the hooks by hand. And of course you let the driver know that you're going underneath, so there's no accidents. The brake, well, it's quite interesting. We do see lots of brake gear on model wagons and people talking about brake blocks and things. That's where the brake block should be in relation to the wheel. There's your W irons, as you can see by the shape of the actual axle box support. It is like a W. There's your leaf spring, that's the axle oil box, and then you do have this linkage between the brake blocks on one side. There's the other brake block or brake shoe, and then you've got this main linkage which goes up to this. And if you've ever heard of the phrase pinning the brakes, that's where it comes from. And applying this enables you to pull that down and release the pin, and then you can release the brake and then put it into its resting place. Gosh, after a day of doing this you don't half feel shattered, but that's how you release the brakes. To put them on, you lift that. It's not easy doing this one-handed. Put that in a convenient place to lever down that. Yep. And then you just put the pin in. and that holds the lever in place with the brakes applied. So there you have it, how to couple and put the brakes on the wagon in one easy lesson. Well, it's got to be easy if you're watching Woody's Modelling Diary. Right, normally we do this with a shunting pole, but because I'm going to have to put this coupling on, yeah, I'll have to excuse the clangs. And this is the instant coupler, so we've just got to turn it through. Apologies about this camera workmanship. And that's basically having turned it through 90 degrees. You can see it makes the coupling a lot shorter. Right, I've got to crawl out from under here, that'll be fun. Just whilst I remember, one quick thing about wagon brakes. You've heard the term pinning the brakes. Of course, if a driver of a train came along to a sort of long gradual descent or even steep descent, they could stop the train at the head of the hill and then use these various pinholes to in effect apply the brakes gradually. So instead of having the brakes full on, you could just have them partially on to give you that little bit of additional braking as you went down the hill. Quite a laborious task, because of course if you had a train of sort of 20 or 30 wagons, you'd have to do that to quite a few of them. So not the type of thing I would want to be having to do on a dark winter's night, but that's what the guys used to do in the old days. So just bear that in mind when you have the comfort of just turning the controller on and off on your model. Well, I hope that's been of use, and may give you a little bit more of an idea of what models are trying to actually reproduce, sometimes accurately, sometimes not so accurately, especially with couplings. So it's back to shunting for me, but if you're interested, I've included a few shots from today's activities. But thanks very much for watching. You take care of yourselves and we'll see you again. Bye.